Do like a little table talk, and we're gonna talk about some tea that we are sipping on. Just kidding. I'm so awkward.
Girl, I'm gonna cut all of this out. Guys, what's up, J&T family?
We're back with another video, and we're doing a mukbang today of whatever was open because it's New Year's Day.
Exactly.
And so today it just happens to be this place called Fresh Burrito that does Mexican food, and I got a bowl and salad thing, and she got a burrito. She's obsessed with burritos. All she ever wants to eat. And I'm tired of it. I've had enough.
Okay, calm down. Calm down.
But you know, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yep.
So we got my burrito bowl thing that has like a whole bunch of lettuce and vegetables and salsa and beans and a bit of rice, and then we got some sour creams. I'm obsessed. And then we have chips and queso and burrito. And we're gonna like also talk, and we're gonna have like a little table talk today about our age gap relationship. Because there's just a lot to talk about, and we figured it would be a good thing to kind of like let you guys get to know about like our relationship and just like us in general. Yeah. So yeah. I'm
starting. I'm so hungry.
Okay, let's just like take a bite.
I'm dying.
Let's just like take a bite, eat a little for a second, and then we will like actually start talking. We should open this though. What's the first question?
Also, guys, this is the first time I've tried this place.
So you gotta say what your opinion is.
I've just gotten a whole bunch of
I've had
rice and like the wrap, so I don't know yet.
But I really like this place.
Okay, so the first question is the obvious question, obviously. What is our age gap, and what are our ages? Okay, so let's do the math here. I'm really bad at math. Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding. I'm 23.
And I'm 32.
Oh my god! Wow!
So if you do the math.
I was born in 1998 and you were born in 1989. It's like reverso. It's like Uno reverse. Anyway, so that makes
Born in the 80s. I am old as hell.
It's crusty.
Out of pocket for that shit.
So yeah, we're like 10 years, almost 10 years apart. It's like 9 and a half. So yeah, it's quite a bit. I mean, I think that like it's definitely something that has come up a lot in our relationship for sure. So we thought we'd answer some like different questions to kind of like talk about it. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's actually a really funny one. Okay. So what were our parents worried about when we started dating, and they obviously found out that we were dating?
Okay.
Go first.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's lots of age gaps in my family, like uncles and aunts and stuff that have age gaps, so no one was really like that like kerfuffled over it. I think the main part that they were kerfuffled over was the fact that T has kids, so like it's kind of like more like we have kids now, but like back at the beginning it was kind of like, oh, you know, you should be careful because if anything were to happen, that's kind of like a heartbreak times 3 is like the way my mom put it, kind of, because it's like not only would you be losing her, but you're also going to be losing the 2 kids that you've gotten to know, and like that would be really difficult. And she also kind of was like, you know, you have to be serious about the relationship, because why would you go into the kids' lives if you know, could possibly like leave, because that's just like not fair for them. So they were kind of worried about what that meant for me, and if I was ready for it, and if I would go into the dynamic of having kids and then regret it. So I think that they were kind of like wanted me to be sure of myself, but as soon as I was like sure of what I wanted, they were like on board, and the age thing I think never really like mattered to them. I don't think. They just didn't want me to get hurt, and they didn't want me to be like make a stupid decision and not think things through and then end up like hurting other people, especially kids. So I think that that was something that like they were worried about, but other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing. Right. How about you? With Papa W, the shark.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I don't know. Like, I think that when I told them that I was seeing you,
yeah,
I think they were a little bit more like, you know, with her age, is she ready to take on the role of essentially stepping into that like stepmom role?
Yeah.
Right? I think they were a little bit worried about that, and I think they were also really concerned for the kids also, because they obviously, I was in a previous marriage with my ex-wife, and that didn't work out, and they didn't want to see you know, the same thing happen with
Again.
heartbreak and all of that, and the kids having to kind of get close to somebody, and then obviously it not working out, and then they're not being able to see her anymore.
That's tough for like little kids because they're young.
Exactly. So I think
they're very young, so it's like hard for them to understand.
that was pretty much my parents' number one concern, but they knew that like obviously,
it's a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people my age, it's like a big commitment and like a big thing, and a lot of people I think don't realize how big it is until they're in it. So I think I didn't even realize how big it was until I was in it.
But my parents didn't realize how mature she was for her age.
Yeah.
Like honestly, once you get to know her, and when I first met her, I genuinely didn't even realize that she was in her like
shocked.
early 20s. I had no idea. I honestly thought that she was like mid to late 20s.
Because
Obviously, I'm
I'm
not trying to shade you and say that you look old.
Yeah.
Girl, you don't look old. I'm just saying.
Everyone thinks that.
Everybody thinks that, honestly. Which is actually kind of funny because it leads into the next question of who's more mature in the relationship.
That was a funny one to add in.
It's okay, it's me.
No way! No.
No, but honestly, it's actually
tell the
hilarious
truth now.
because
Let's
when
tell the
she met
truth.
all of my friends, they were genuinely all like, how is it possible that this girl is 10 years younger than you, but way more mature than you? Like, it's actually hilarious.
Tea.
It's true though, right?
No, they did all say that. They told that to my face, actually.
And they all go to her for advice now. They don't come to me anymore.
They
go to
ask
her.
me about things.
They actually do.
It's because I give good advice.
This is true.
I'm a very old soul.
You are an old soul, and now that my parents like have met you, and see that you're like that, and see how you are with the kids,
Yeah.
they are completely like at ease. They get it, and they're like, okay, we see what you're talking about. When it was like coming down to the whole old soul thing, they totally understand now.
Because I think that like, if anyone is around us for long enough, they realize that our maturity, like, or our like personalities kind of just like blend together really well, because I'm like, you're immature for your age,
And
and I'm like really mature for my age.
girl,
So
we already went over the fact that I am immature for my age. Why are we saying that again?
But anyway, so I actually also, when we met, thought that you were like, I thought
Again,
she was
she's
like
gonna shade me.
25 at
Again,
most.
she's gonna shade me, guys.
And why is that a shade? That's not shade. You drink from a fountain of youth, girl.
All right, well.
I feel like nobody. She gets carded at the ID, and I mean at the LCBO, and they're like, they look at her ID and they're like, pardon me,
I know.
like
it's
all
true.
the time.
It does happen all the time. I don't want anyone in the comments
Oh, people think she's a
saying,
teen mom.
actually, no, she looks old as hell. She looks 32. You can save those comments.
Keep them
I'm
to
just
yourself, or she'll come for you. She'll shank ya.
Electric chair.
But yeah. So, and people also think she's a teen mom. People think I'm a teen mom too when I'm with the boys. Like literally, I'll be like walking around, people
was
looking
not
at
a
me like
teen
this.
mom.
They're looking at
Definitely
me like that, and I'm like, girl, like you don't even know the situation. You can
my ex and
pipe down.
My ex and I had our oldest when I was like 25. I was not teen. Regular.
No tea there.
Okay, so what's the next question?
Who's had to make the biggest life adjustment? Really easy. Me, absolutely. Like, I think since meeting you, I don't think I've ever had like a time in my life where I've like had to grow more than I have in the last like 2 years.
Right.
I feel like everything in my life has had to evolve and change drastically, because you know, like, we waited a long time for me to meet the kids after we met.
That was really important to me, is that we actually like, waited.
We weren't stupid about it.
Yeah.
But when I did meet the kids, it was like instantly they fell in love with me.
Thank you. You love me. You really love me.
And I fell in love with them, and they, you know, expected a lot from me and really started looking at me like a parent and expecting a lot from me, and we didn't see it like being that way. We saw it being like a thing that slowly kind of evolved, and that we didn't even know if they would ever really view me like in a motherly way, but they did, like
they really did.
quick.
I feel like, but I also feel like everything just came so natural and so easy when it came to meeting family and all of that stuff. Like
it was crazy.
It was just like meant to be. Like there's so much love and like between us and our family, and so it was kind of like we were surprised, but we weren't actually surprised because it just like makes sense.
Yeah,
you know.
But I think there was a whole bunch of things we didn't really like first see, like the amount of the time commitment, because when I first met her, I was still in school, like finishing college, and I was really busy, and I had like a very like single person like life. Like I had a very like, you know, like I didn't have a family life. I didn't know what a family life was, and I didn't know the time commitment it would take to be like what the kids wanted me for. Like at that time, I didn't realize there would be such a crazy time commitment, and we didn't live together either. So the kids were there wanting me like every day that she had them, and I wasn't able to like really be there because I had school and all these other things. It was just like, it was just craziness, and we had to really like figure it out, and I had to grow up and, you know, really like assess my priorities and what I wanted and what I needed, and just like, I don't know, my whole life just did a little 360, and like now it's
and
like,
on my end, I wanted to make sure that like
there was
no pressure on my end. Like
no, there was never any pressure.
Did I want you to ever feel like I'm like,
girl, the kids gave me more pressure than you. They were like, you need to stay every single day, never leave.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
And I wanted, and that's the thing, is I wanted to be everything that they wanted me to be.
Yeah.
It was just, it's hard to like, you know, 360 in 1 second just turn your life around from living like as a like a unit, like one single person, to like a multitude of people. Like it's a lot to get, and I've only ever been in a relationship where there was just me and one other person, like not having to consider two other little lives as well. Like it just took me for a twirl and a whirl. And I was like, oh my God.
But I would also like to take the time to say, you did an amazing job. Like, and you are continuing to do an amazing job. Oh girl, you flinging stuff. But it's funny because every now and then I have these moments where I'm like, wow, like you really had to make that adjustment.
Yeah,
and like
it was a big one.
Honestly,
I did it with grace.
Said to you, I just recently said to you, I'm like, if it was the other way around, like I don't even know if I could do that. So hats off to you. Like you have I have like so much respect for you, because I don't even know if I could do that.
Yeah, it was definitely not easy.
Yeah, but you did it. You handled it in stride, which is awesome. Okay. Does your age make it difficult to understand each other?
I think sometimes. Like I think that there's sometimes where I think like in the past there were times where I think you didn't understand like the different adjustments I was making. Like I had to process different things, and like I didn't understand certain things, and like to you the whole everything about the family dynamic, just like you're like, well, of course. But for me, there was a whole bunch of things where I was like, well,
I don't understand that.
I don't get that, or like I don't, like, you know what I mean? And so I think there's a lot of times where I was like, how do you not get it? And then you were like, how do you not get it? Because we were both coming from very different life phases. Like I was coming from being literally like we met when I was 21. So it was like I was really like, I was young, and I had no idea what any of these things were. And I also had no idea what an actual serious relationship was, because I had only ever been in like a couple relationships, and none of them were even close to as serious as this one. Whereas you came out of like a really long marriage, like almost decade-long marriage, so you had a lot more experience about like what a relationship was, and a lot of that's to do with your age and like your life experience.
Yeah. So
like there was a lot of things that you expected from me that I didn't even know how to do, and I was still kind of like learning and growing and figuring out how to do that. So there was definitely times where I think we both expected things out of each other that weren't realistic, because we were still learning and trying to like understand.
What she said.
But yeah, it's complicated, y'all. like the whole being with somebody who has kids and age gaps and all that, like
it's a lot to navigate.
You don't even realize it. You're like, no, it's not like that much, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
You texted me about it first. I remember when we first started getting serious and we started talking about maybe introducing you to the kids, and we were like like 8 or 9 months in or something like that. Like we almost waited a year.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a long time.
We needed to make sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew right away, but we just needed to double check.
Yeah.
And I remember you texting me being like, yo, like this is gonna be a lot to navigate, and I'm over here being like, what are you talking about? It's gonna be fun. Don't worry about it. And she just goes, okay, sure.
I'm like, okay, you
and
just
then
wait.
now every time something that's weird comes up that we have to navigate, I
stuff.
always am like, remember that time when I was saying that it's not gonna be complicated at all and it's just gonna be like smooth sailing? Yeah, it's so funny though that happened. Okay. Oh, what do your parents think now?
Oh my god. She's the only person my parents have ever like adored. They adore her.
Thank you. You love me. You really love me.
And it's funny because like right before her, well, around when we met, my parents were still kind of processing the whole gay thing. Like it took a really long time to navigate that. They're on their own. It took like 5 years to like actually be okay with it. But so yeah, and I think meeting her actually made it easier for them because they like loved her and they see how much we care about each other and like love each other. So I think that how much they liked you made it easier for them to like accept, which is like amazing because that's all I ever wanted. Like I have always wanted my family to like love the person that I'm with.
You know what's actually really funny also on that point?
What?
I think that even though I've been out to my family for so long, they had a really, really hard time with it. Like, I'm not going to go into detail with you guys about it right now. Maybe that's another video. But it was really, really tough.
Yeah.
And, like, even through, like, getting married and having kids, I always felt a little bit off because I think that even though I was married and had kids and all of that, I think that them being able to see the love that we have for each other and the love that like, you know, the kids have for you and just like as a whole family unit, I think it's been a lot easier for them to like process, okay, like we understand, we get this. And like it's so funny because I was saying to her, like me and my dad, we were actually like gonna watch RuPaul's Drag Race like last week. Which is crazy, and they like talk about,
or they come.
Yeah, and like talking about like trans rights. It's like crazy. I would have never thought in a million years that they would be that far
down for it.
Yeah, like it's crazy to think of.
Because they grew up in a culture that was like really against it.
Yeah. And like it was obviously one of those things where it's kind of like a safety issue too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so
is.
I think it was a lot for them to wrap their minds around when I first came out, but I think now that they've been able to see like I'm genuinely happy and it's just like so easy and everything's worked out, I think it's a lot easier for them to kind of come to grips with.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm happy for you for that.
And I'm happy for you too because it was a long road for you too, bro. All right. Okay, so we got 2 more questions left. The next one is, how does it feel to navigate all the challenges or complications that come up together?
Like, I think I said this a little bit before, but it's just really easy to be with her.
Yeah.
And I think that makes them, even though there are things that are like super challenging and like hard to navigate, I think there's maybe like once a month or like, like once a month since I met the kids, we probably have had like a weird conversation where we're like, we have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because things will come up and we'll be like, oh my god, what do we do? You know,
how do we navigate this?
Like
it
you know,
comes back to communication.
like one of the kids, you know, there's been times where the kids started calling me mom, and we're like, well, how do we navigate that? What do we tell them to call us? What do they call my parents? Because they can't call them by their first names. That's weird. You know, what, or there's just a lot of things, you know, navigating me moving in. What do we tell the kids? And, you know, are the kids down for that? And are they comfortable? We told them nothing. They actually asked. They're like, can you just, her oldest literally just held me and was like, can you just stay forever? Like, I never want you to leave. Like, that's how, it was really easy. But either way, we still had to, like, make sure that, you know, it all made sense and that it wasn't too complicated for their little, like, baby brains, because they're little and they need to feel comfy and, like, happy and so and secure. So there's just always been a lot. So I think that the fact that we're so open communication, and then that, like, that I trust her and that, like, we're not scared to have you know, those conversations that are a little bit more difficult to navigate, because honestly, like, they're just open about everything.
Might as well be.
Yeah, and in our situation, you have to be. You can't be closed off, because there's no secrets anymore, and there's so much that's at stake.
And I was such a closed off person. It's just really funny that you've been able to kind of.
I know. Because when we first started dating,
I was so closed.
When we first started dating, she kept, like, taking back the things she would say, and I literally said to her, I'm like, this is the last time you're gonna do this to me.
Electric chair.
Because she would, like, text me, she would say things, and then she would be like, just kidding, haha, I didn't mean that.
You're the love of my life, or something like that.
And I would be like,
maybe I would do it when I was, like, a little tipsy.
Yeah, and then the next morning she'd be like, oh, haha.
/ a lot tipsy.
I was so drunk, I didn't mean any of that, rude gal. Anyway, so one day I literally said to her, I was like, so, like, what you're not gonna do is do that to me.
And
I'm not the one.
I recognize.
I was like, I'm not the one. I was like, if you don't care or you don't actually mean any of that stuff, don't you dare say it to me. And she was like,
yeah, I was, because
she had no one ever, like, check her like that before, and I was like, you're not gonna. That's not communicating. And that's not the way that I was gonna like accept being communicated to. You know what I mean? So, like, very early on, she's like, oh, I gotta, like, get my life together. You know what I mean?
Let's not get it twisted though. Like, I still have a really hard time expressing emotions and all of that.
Yeah, but I think all this stuff that we've had to deal with,
able to bring it out of me,
and all the challenges and stuff have made it easier. We've had a lot of, like, practice at, like, dealing with complicated things, because the nature of our relationship, and, like, me jumping into, like, being a step parent and us having 2 kids from the jump with no, like, real long time to nurture our relationship first, naturally puts us in a spot where there's just a lot to talk about all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got a lot of experience now.
Yeah. Okay, and the last question. When did you know you loved me?
I knew when I met her. Sounds crazy. I remember telling myself, like, you're an idiot. Like, I remember, like, thinking to myself in my brain, like, you're actually dumb. But I remember walking away when I met her and being like, I'm gonna love her. And then I remember, like, literally hitting myself in the head and being like, you're actually drunk and dumb right now. Like, you're drunk, number 1. Number 2, you're dumb. Number 3, you're like a hopeless romantic and you need to cut it out right now, because I just got out of a relationship with someone else. She who shall not be named. And I literally, like, was like, I'm not gonna date anyone for a really long time. Like, I don't want to date anyone. Like, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna be single. Then she just came in and I was like, it swooped up, and I was done. But genuinely, the day I met her, I was like, oh my god, it was so weird. It was like one of those weird connections that you don't even. Child. We've got to go deal with the child. Anyway, child has been minded.
We're good now.
He's okay now.
We're good.
We're moving on. So,
so
back to
when you
what we were saying. Oh yeah, when I knew I loved her. Yeah, I just left where we were, being like, oh my god, like, I don't know why, but I feel that way. And I remember thinking that, like, I was really dumb. I was like, oh my god, I was, like, hitting myself in the head, like, you're actually, like, the worst. Because I remember being like, how could you actually feel that way? Like, how could you actually know? Like, then the second you meet somebody, I was like, how could I actually know that? Like, I just remember, like, kicking myself in the face and being like, yeah, no. And it's funny too, because I went home with my friend that night, and my friend was like, you're gonna date her, aren't you? Like, you're gonna date her, aren't you? You're gonna do this again, aren't you? Like, you're gonna, like, get in a relationship. And she's like, how do you do it so fast? She was like, what the heck? And I was just like, no, I'm not going to. And I did.
She didn't even fight me on it, guys. Like, she was just
what do you
with
mean?
You didn't even fight it. You literally were just like, every step of the way, you weren't like, oh, I shouldn't be in a relationship. You were just like taking it all as a game.
No, but then I'm talking about the night we met.
Oh,
and my friend was like roasting me, because actually the real tea of it all is that she, like, ran up to me and, like, was like, no, you can't leave without giving me a hug. And I was hugging her, and my friend was standing behind, like, on my side, that I could see her in the eyes. She was looking at me in the eyes and, like, rolling her eyes like, ugh, like, get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah.
It was funny. Okay, so anyway, when did you know?
Oh, I feel like I knew right away as well. Like I was just like, what?
I just like hit myself in the teeth. I was like, okay, anyway.
Okay, anyways, you good?
I'm
You
good.
lost a tooth or what? What's going on?
Maybe.
Okay, anyways. Yeah, no, I think that it was, for me, it was the exact same thing. Like, I think that there was an absolute vibe the night that we
Yeah.
met, and I think it was like a, like nothing else mattered type of vibe, which is really weird because I'm like, I've never really experienced that before. But yeah, like right away I knew that it was like gonna be a forever type of thing.
She asked me to hang out 2
again
days in a row, y'all.
Which again sounds
days in a row.
really, I know I did the back to back, don't judge me.
She wasn't trying to play cool.
But it's funny because I forget what I was talking about.
Oh my god, how you knew you loved me?
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I'm forgettable. Choose your
Anyways,
words carefully.
I knew that you were gonna be really special and important in my life, and I knew it was gonna be a forever thing. Like when I met you, even though, guys, can we talk about the fact that I told her that the one thing that drew me in so much was her big brown eyes. Wow.
Wish I could zoom in.
I don't know if you
right
can
now.
see this right now, guys, but her eyes were like ice blue. I don't know what I was on,
and it's
but
funny.
honestly, I have nothing.
No, that knocked me down a few pegs for sure, because the one thing people constantly like compliment me on is my eyes. They're like, you have the most beautiful blue eyes. Like, I get that all the time. That's like my number one compliment.
Guys, I swear.
And she comes up to me and
swear
she's
she
like,
had brown eyes that
no, I'm
night.
pretty sure her
She
friend,
shape-shifted.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
her friend,
She shapeshifted.
her friend was like, oh my god, aren't her eyes beautiful or something? And then she looks at them and she's like, oh yeah, they're like brown, aren't they? And I was
Out of pocket for that shit.
like,
No, I didn't do that.
That was not what
No,
happened.
that's not what happened. That I literally texted you saying that I loved
no, it
your
was at the
brown
bar
eyes.
as well. You said it too. Because at the bar I was like, ah. I
Oh,
was
okay.
like, oh my god, I was so
Okay.
offended.
But anyways, either way,
She had my
That's
eyes were
how-
brown. I'm like,
Let's-
clearly, that's how turn up you were that night.
anyways, you guys, I think that that's probably going to wrap up.
You know what? You just got like a deeper look in on the lives of Jess and T, and how
And how
everything
we're
came to
age
be.
gapped.
Yeah, and how you're crusty dusty and I'm young
Whoa.
as a spring chicken.
Oh my god. Guys, this is what
I'm
I deal
kidding.
with.
I'm kidding.
I'm just joking. But anyways,
But yeah, we do have kind of an interesting relationship. I think that like there's a
Oh.
lot of angles that are like cool to talk about.
and not to cut you off,
What?
if anybody has any questions
Mm-hmm.
for us, we're definitely
About-
open to doing a part 2.
Yeah, we want to talk about a little bit more about maybe about like parenting or like just like the
Or whatever you guys
Yeah.
are interested, whatever you want to hear more about, like if this has kind of sparked any ideas
Like,
or
or
questions
curiosity.
or anything like that, leave a comment down below,
yeah.
and
And we'll do another.
we'll do a part 2 to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all.
So again, if you're enjoying
If you like
what you're
it,
seeing,
comment,
like,
subscribe.
comment, subscribe, do it all, and
Yeah.
we will see you very soon. Peace out.
Nope.